The 2-bucket wash method or the 1-bucket wash method? Which one is the best one? Oh my God, things are about to get heated. Security, I think we're gonna need more security. So you're telling me that you're using the no bucket wash method because you're bringing your car to the automated car wash? Hi, Mr. President. This is Pan TheOrganizer. I'm going to need you to authorize the deployment of SEAL Team 6. Things are about to get heated here, and we're going to need all the help we can get. So what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan TheOrganizer. So today, as I'm getting ready to wash my own vehicle, I wash my car twice weekly, by the way, I thought it was important to have this discussion because it's a commonly asked question by you guys, my viewers, and regardless if you're a detailing enthusiast, a car detailing professional, weekend warrior, so on and so forth, we're all about having the methods that are going to provide safe washing and safe drying methods, all in an effort to minimize the amount of scratches and swirl marks or marring we do to the paint when we're washing our vehicles, right? So if we want to enjoy the process, we got to make sure we have the right techniques. So today I'm going to first start by giving you an overview of each of these two methods. We're going to be giving you the pros and cons and hopefully draw a conclusion, but I'm also going to be sharing some tips and tricks on how you can elevate both of these methods to the next level and make sure you're getting the most out of them. By the way, I want you guys to share right away before we start. Drop a comment in the comment section under the video. What is your preferred wash method? So is it the classic 2-bucket wash method or the 1-bucket wash method? I'm curious. And again, especially if you're a car detailing professional, share which one or which method you prefer using in your business, and I want to know why. So basically, say if you're a weekend warrior or a detailing enthusiast or a professional, and also mention which method you prefer and for which reasons. Let's keep this civil, guys, in the comment section. This can be a heated debate, but we're here to exchange our thoughts and, of course, bring value for everyone, especially for those who are debating which method to start using. So I'm going to start with the classic 2-bucket wash method. What is this? Well, as the name states, there's 2 buckets, right? So you get 1 bucket that is typically called the rinse bucket. So in here, you just have some clean water in there, and that's going to help you rinse your wash mitt before you dunk it into the wash bucket, which contains your soapy solution. So your dilution of water and your preferred car shampoo. And you have 1 wash mitt to use with this. So what are the pros and cons? First of all, this method is supposed to help prevent scratches and swirls on the paintwork when you're washing, because all the dirt that's on your mitt as you're washing, well, you're dunking it into your rinse water first, and you're scrubbing it in the bottom. And in the bottom of each bucket, by the way, I highly recommend that you guys have a water filter in the bottom. So this one here is the Dirt Lock by the Detail Guards. You also have the classic grit guard. So basically these are grits or grids that sit in the bottom of the bucket, and they help keep all that dirt and grime towards the bottom and not back into the wash solution, or at least that's what they do in theory, right? By the way, quick disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody paid for this video. And if you want to have or check out the tools and equipment that I'm talking about, I'll leave the links in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. So you have grit guards or bucket filters in the bottom of each of your buckets, of course, to keep that grit in the bottom. And so when you're washing your vehicle, every now and then or after each panel, you're going to come in your rinse water, you're going to scrub that in the bottom, and then you're going to rinse out whatever's on there, and then you dunk in the second bucket, which contains your soapy solution, and you're good to continue cleaning. So what are the pros? The initial investment is actually the lowest of both methods because all you need is 2 buckets and 2 filters and 1 wash mitt, right? So typically you can go and just at your local hardware store like Home Depot and get a 5-gallon bucket. Those are like $5, right? In US dollars. So you get 2 of those, that's $10. And you can get entry-level grits like this in the bottom. So these ones here, they're typically what, like $10 each. So you have 2, that's $20. Plus your $10 for the 2 buckets, you're at roughly $30. So that's the initial investment. You can get microfiber wash mitts, either chenille wash mitts. So a good quality one, anywhere from $8 to $15 USD. and you can get good ones like this one here from Microfiber Madness. This is the Incredimit. This one here is a higher end one, so like 25 USD, somewhere around that. So the initial cost is actually quite low. Of course, you can go fancier and have a dolly like I do. So they're both connected with a connecting plate. You have higher end buckets, higher end filtration systems in the bottom, and higher end wash mitts. That's up to you. But you can get into it for a very, very low cost. What are the cons of this method? Well, first of all, technically, again, you have 2 buckets, so it's just a little more things to manage in theory. Also, sometimes you could be diluting the soap in the water because you're taking some of that fresh, clean rinse water and dunking it back in to your initial bucket. So you're potentially diluting the soap or the shampoo. But again, don't overthink the moment. That's not doing it that much. Also, you can rinse your mitt right in between each panel. You can pressure rinse it off, or if you have a garden hose with strong enough pressure, rinse it off before you put it in the rinse bucket and then again into your wash bucket. So you're minimizing, again, the chances of having any dirt on this. Another pro for this is you only have 1 mitt to manage, right? Before I start washing my vehicle, I always inspect my wash mitt or wash media, regardless, by the way, if you use a wash mitt or microfiber towel or whatever you guys want to wash your vehicle. A wash pad, for example, as well. So I thoroughly inspect the mitt itself to make sure I don't have any loose dirt or debris in there, because I still wash my microfiber towels, microfiber drying towels, the wash mitts, all that after each wash. That's my way of doing it. I like to have clean stuff when I wash a vehicle. But even at that, before starting the wash process, once again, I inspect visually to make sure there's no dirt trapped in there, because if there's still dirt after you cleaned or washed it, imagine the damage it can do on your paint if you were to use that on your paintwork. So always keep that in mind. So you have that lower cost, and yeah, so the other con for this method that many bring up is that technically, well, because you're introducing dirt into your rinse water, even though you have the grit guards or the dirt locks in the bottom, you could still potentially have dirty water as you go on. And of course, you're taking a bit of that dirty water potentially and reintroducing it into your clean and fresh wash solution. Now, I've been personally detailing cars for like 25 years now. I've tried both methods, by the way, and I wash my own vehicle twice weekly, so I do it quite frequently, and I'm capable of, well, first of all, using the correct washing and drying techniques, and so the experience really helps. And I do not see any introduction of any swirls or scratches using the 2 bucket method. And so let's talk about the 1 bucket method system now and see what the difference is. So first of all, you have only 1 bucket, right? But in this method, instead of using only 1 wash mitt, you are going to need multiple mitts. So technically, each time you use a mitt for 1 section, so you do 1 section, you can flip it to the other side, do another section, and you're going to set this aside. You're not reintroducing it inside the bucket. So in theory, one of the pros is that you're always having clean media on the surface and you're never reintroducing a dirty mitt either into your bucket or onto the paint. So again, in theory, technically, you always have clean wash media to clean your vehicle and you're never reintroducing that dirt. So another alternative to many wash mitts is to have many microfiber towels. So the towels are folded in 4, so you get 8 clean different sides to do each section, flip to another towel, flip the towel around to another clean section, and so on and so forth. And so one of the cons of this method, once again, please, in your bucket, have, regardless of which method you have, always have dirt traps in the bottom or grit guards. That really helps to minimize or not take any risks. So once again, one of the cons is you're managing a lot of wash media, right? Whether it's a lot of microfiber towels or a lot of wash mitts. And of course, you never get a straight answer because it depends on people's regimen, but you're going to need anywhere from 5 mitts to 8 mitts for larger SUVs or trucks. Some people also use 10 to 12 mitts per vehicle. So the initial cost, that's another con of this method, is that it's much higher. So yes, you only have 1, let's say $5 bucket and 1 $10 grit guard in the bottom for $15, but then imagine adding up the cost of 5 mitts, especially if you're getting into the higher quality ones like these Microfiber Madness and Credi mitts at $25 a pop, or even the less expensive chenille wash mitts, which you can have from anywhere $8 to $15 for a good quality one still. So multiply that by 5, 8, or 12 different units, and you're looking already in the 3 figures cost, right? So the initial cost, regardless of how you see it, is going to be more expensive. Another con from this method is you have a lot more mitts or towels to manage. So again, before I start washing my car, I always visually inspect my wash media to make sure there's no trapped dirt or debris. But also keep in mind that you have to wash all this. So it's not as bad if you do one load because you're a person working at home, or you're a weekend warrior or car detailing enthusiast, that's fine. But imagine if you're a professional detailer and you have many cars to wash during the day. Obviously, you're not going to use the dirty mitts that you had, so you would need like 20, 30 potentially different mitts or more. So that becomes a lot to manage, or unless you're doing a wash load in your washing machine between each car, which that decreases efficiency and that's too much. But you have definitely a lot more wash media to have. So again, the big pros obviously are you're never introducing a dirty mitt or a dirty microfiber towel onto the surface, or potentially there's never any dirt that you're reintroducing either in your bucket or on the vehicle. So it is supposed to be the safest method in theory. But the cons, are that you have a lot of towels or mitts to manage. The initial investment is a lot greater, and you potentially have more washing to do, more inspection of the wash media to do as well. So yeah, just keep all that in consideration. So now, is there a method that is better than the other? I know that you guys probably are waiting for this, and you're waiting for a definitive answer. So there is no best method in my opinion. Once again, you guys are free to have your own opinion, and I want to know your opinions, by the way, in the comment section under the video. Once again, what is your preferred method? First of all, again, are you a enthusiast or a professional? And third, why do you prefer that method? So let's have constructive discussions here about both methods, and I think it's good for the community to grow as a whole. But basically, the most important thing or takeaway is that regardless of which method you use, there are pros and cons to each, and also it mainly depends on how thorough you are doing a job, because both of these can generate awesome results. And no, you're not going to scratch or swirl the surface if you're using each method appropriately and correctly. So the most important is to use the safe washing and drying methods. So regardless if you're using this, like I myself, this is my preferred washing method. So the classic 2-bucket method. It has always worked for me, regardless if you see some hype that the 2-bucket method is a thing of the past and you can potentially scratch or swirl your paint. As I said, you guys know I've been operating this channel now for quite a while, and I wash my car twice weekly, and I detail tons and tons of cars, and I never introduce swirls or scratches. This is a perfect candidate. All my vehicles are, because I constantly am washing them and caring for them, and I have never seen any marring, scratching, or swirls. So as long as you do the method properly. So once again, if you're using the 2-bucket method, you're going to have a grit guard in the bottom of each bucket to have all that grit sit in the bottom as much as possible. You're going to use quality wash media. Inspect your wash media before you're using it. What you can do before reintroducing it into your rinse bucket, so you're washing your car, what I like to do is wring it out a bit to get a bit of that dirty water out. Then you're going to thoroughly scrub it in the bottom of your grit guard to get that loose dirt. And then again, you're going to release all that water. And then you're going to reintroduce in your wash media and in your wash solution. And you're going to notice at the end, there shouldn't be much dirt in there, if any at all. Even my rinse bucket is pretty much clean when I am done. So if you're using this method, using it often and using it correctly, there is no worries of scratching or swirling. Now, on the 1-bucket wash method, also, if you're using this correctly, it is fine. If it's appropriate for you, like if you really want to make sure you never have any dirt reintroduced into your bucket or onto your vehicle, this is a perfect method. Just keep in mind that it's a higher initial cost, but I know the cost isn't important for everyone, but for a lot of people it is, by the way, especially with the gas prices now and all that kind of stuff. People lead busy lives, and not everybody has an unlimited budget or a higher budget to put, and I fully understand that. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It will be more expensive to start off with this, because you need obviously way more mitts. By the way, how many mitts do you guys use with the 1 bucket wash method? So I've seen anywhere from 5 mitts to 8 mitts. Some people use 10, 12 plus if it's a larger vehicle, but you definitely have a lot more mitts, or you have a lot more microfiber towels to manage as well. So how many microfiber towels do you use if you prefer using the towels? But yeah, so in theory with this one, you never have to reintroduce dirt or grime into the bucket or onto the paint, but you have more wash media to manage, to inspect, and to wash towards the end, and that higher initial cost. But once again, this too, if used properly, you will not scratch or swirl or mar your paint. So both are excellent methods. Once again, it's all about how you use them. And I'm sure people who have each one, you guys, if you've tested both, use whatever works the best for you. Whatever works not only the best in your world, in your reality, your situation, but whatever you like most in your regimen. What is the most important is to enjoy the detailing process. We're not trying to make things more complicated or make things like unattainable or have very strict and rigid guidelines. No, at the end, guys, you use whichever method works for you. Block out that noise out there that is telling you, oh, you should only use the 2 bucket wash method, or you should only use the 1 bucket wash method. Forget that. Forget the trolls, forget the haters. If it works for you at the end of the day, inspect your paint. If you don't see any swirls or scratches, you did it correctly, and continue using the one that you feel most comfortable with. Now in this video, we spoke about the 1 bucket wash method and the 2 bucket wash method, but there are also many other ways to wash cars, right? I'm looking at you mobile detailers out there, especially because they use that a lot, or the professional shop settings, or even detailing enthusiasts. You'll use the Gary Dean method. He's a professional detailer that kind of coined the term the Gary Dean method, because he uses a 1 wash bucket with a rinshless wash solution and multiple wash mitts. And you're pre-soaking the vehicle with the rinseless wash, and then you're wiping with a clean towel all the time, taking a second humid towel to wipe that off, and then you're finally drying the vehicle. So there's the classic rinseless wash method. Some people like waterless wash methods. There's a bunch of ways you can clean the vehicle. Now, I'm all for it as long as you're enjoying the process, you're using the techniques correctly. So whichever technique you want, just do a bit of research. You had this video to start giving you tips and tricks on how to do it, but research your favorite method and dive into it. See all the intricacies and also see what you can adjust for your own reality. But now for both of these methods, I said I would share some tips and tricks to elevate both methods, right? So you can definitely make sure you're getting the best experience regardless of which one you are using. If, for example, you start by pre-washing. So a lot of people think that using a snow foam is a thing just for marketing or to see all those bubbles and foam. That would be semi-true if we're talking about more a pH neutral or a gentle cleaner. So what that will do is basically only lubricate the surface and of course make it more fun when you're washing the vehicle. But especially in Europe, they know how important a pre-wash stage is if you're using the correct snow foam. So there are some out there that have a higher cleaning capability. And by the way, I had a video on that. Do snow foams actually really work? And do they do something? And they do if you know which one to use and which panel impact ratio you're using or which dilution ratio. But two of them, for example, Built Hamber, so the auto foam or the touchless snow foams, those are higher alkaline pH, so pH 12, pH 13. If you dilute them correctly, they will not damage your ceramic coating, by the way, if you have a ceramic coating on the vehicle, so don't worry. And you wouldn't use that for every single wash. And there's the stuff like CarPro Lift as well, which is another very powerful snow foam, alkaline pH once again. So what those do when you're pre-foaming the vehicle or that pre-treatment or that snow foam or pre-wash, regardless how you want to call it, is you're basically helping to break down, encapsulate, and lift a lot of that loose grime and debris, but also get rid of that traffic film, that oily substance, a lot of the grime as well. So you're going to get 80 to 85% of all the dirt and grime off the surface before the contact wash. And that is probably more important than which one of these two methods you're using, is that pre-wash stage with an effective pre-wash snow foam. So that is key, guys. So the cleaner you get the surface before you do the contact wash with your wash mitt or microfiber towels, the less chances you have of scratching and swirling. So if you do an effective and proper pre-wash with a snow foam and a foam cannon, or if you only have a garden hose, you can use a foam gun, that's fine. But those effective pre-washes, once again, not all snow foams, but the ones that do the heavier grime lifting and that dirt lifting and encapsulating and emulsifying, will get your surface so clean. Of course, you always need to follow up with a contact wash because mechanical agitation is needed. But believe me, once you do an effective pre-wash, you're going to see just how cleaner the surface is, and you're having less chances of scratching or swirling because there's not much dirt left. So another tip that I have for you is wash your car more often. So if you're only washing your car once every month or once every other month, obviously you're getting a lot more caked on dirt. You have probably a lot more bird poo or pollen or whatever it is, or wherever you're living, more chances of having water spotting issues as well if you don't wash your car often, and so on and so forth, and accumulated grime and traffic film also that is harder to break down over time if you don't take care of it in a regular manner. So there is no right or wrong in that, right? So how often should you wash your car? That depends only on you. I like to wash my car twice weekly. Some people like to do it almost every day, every other day. Whatever works for you, just wash it more regularly. Not only is your car obviously going to look cleaner, which we all like a clean car, right? Especially if you're watching this detailing video. But the benefit is that everything is going to be a lot easier to take care of. So water spots won't have the time to etch into the finish. If you wash your car more regularly, the finish will be a lot better as far as oxidation is concerned, because you typically finish with a drying aid or a quick detail spray or a booster product at the end to increase gloss, slickness, UV protection, all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, it's just going to make your vehicle a lot easier to wash during your maintenance washes the more often you do it. So just increase the frequency when you're washing your car if possible, right? So another quick pro tip is to have some sort of a drying aid at the end. So the washing is very important because that's one of the ways a lot of people often scratch or mar the paint if they don't know what they're doing. But the other way they scratch or mar their paint or have those love marks, right, is anytime you're doing a contact with your hands and something on the paintwork. So the other thing is when you're drying your vehicle. So I highly recommend your vehicle should have some sort of protection on it, right? Especially if you're watching these videos, I'm assuming you love detailing. So either a wax, a paint sealant, a ceramic coating, or a graphene coating, basically any form of paint protection will not only protect your paint against the elements, give it that gloss, that slickness, and the hydrophobic properties, the water beading, the water sheeting, but it will also give the vehicle self-cleaning properties. The car doesn't clean itself. What that means is that the vehicle is a lot easier to wash during your maintenance washes, and that's what we're looking for. So if the vehicle is a lot easier to wash thanks to those hydrophobics, when you're done, technically in theory, you can use a car dryer to blow the water off. Because you have that protection, the water is just going to fly off, and there you go. That is a 100% contactless way. So you're contact free for drying the vehicle. Now, the car dryers or leaf blowers can be quite expensive. I understand that. So if you don't want to invest in that kind of machinery to have a touchless drying, car drying method, you can still use a microfiber drying towel. Don't use those old chamois, yeah, exactly, like ShamWow or all that stuff. That's a thing of the past. Use a proper microfiber drying towel. Ideally, the ones that have a twisted loop weave, that's the one that picks up the most amount of water. I had a battle video on my channel, by the way, for my favorite microfiber drying towel, so you can go and check that out. But when you're using a drying towel, use a drying aid with it. So it can be a quick detail spray or a drying aid, basically a liquid that you're spraying on the wet surface before you're drying. And that way it's going to lubricate the surface by making sure it's like a buffer between the paint and your microfiber towel. So when you're going to be dragging the towel around or blotting, whichever method you pick, you're going to get the benefit of that lubrication. So you're reducing the chances of scratching or marring your paint, and you're also increasing the gloss, the slickness, and the protection if the product you're using has any protection in it. So it's going to help not only dry the car more efficiently, but you're reducing also the chances of adding any water spotting if you're working outside. So use a drying aid. That's another tip. And another tip is to have a bucket that is dedicated for your wheels, guys. So I always have a bucket. So if you're a 2-bucket method, this is technically a 3rd bucket, right? And even if you're using the 1-bucket wash method, have a dedicated wheel bucket. I still put a grit guard in the bottom here or a dirt lock, regardless of which company you guys like. But yeah, by having a separate wheel bucket, you're keeping the dirtiest parts of the vehicle, which are the wheels, all that dirt and grime from your brushes or whatever media you're using to wash the tires and wheels. It stays in that wheel bucket, and you're not cross-contaminating your wash buckets for the paintwork and the rest of the vehicle. So that's super important. And it doesn't matter regardless if you start by washing your wheels and tires or you finish by washing your wheels and tires, whatever method works for you, as long as you're using safe washing and drying methods. And I think having a dedicated wheel bucket is one of those important ones. Again, you're not cross-contaminating those dirty wheels and tires, all that gunk and stuff, and potentially putting it back into your wash buckets for the rest of the vehicle. So I remind you that I'll put all the links to the tools and equipment in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this. Share in the comment section. Don't forget, let me know which method you prefer, why you prefer that method, and are you a detailing enthusiast or a detailing professional? If you want to encourage my channel, smash the thumbs up button. This really helps the YouTube algorithm show that you guys are enjoying my content. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Pan TheOrganizer family. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's found under this video. That way you'll subscribe to my channel and never miss my future videos. So guys, thanks for being there. Thanks for watching. And in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.